Hey, what to do, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're just having a great day. So we've been getting lots of rain down here in Southern California, which is a good and a bad thing. It's not great for work. It's excellent for the farm. Everything's starting to turn real green out here. The animals love this kind of stuff. It's definitely overall weather. I think one of the good things about overalls is that secretly I can have my pajamas on underneath here, and you guys would never know. So anyhow, I feel like I've been making a lot of videos lately that have been more on the negative side of things, like price on parts is just through the roof. You can't even get the parts anymore. I also have footage for another video that I haven't dropped yet that also blows my mind on more parts availability issues. So instead of being negative today, we're gonna focus on something positive, and I'm gonna start building the forklift attachment, something that I've needed to do for a couple weeks. I've got it all designed out in my head. It's gonna be pretty basic, it's gonna be mega heavy duty, and I think that's pretty much gonna be what today's video is about. It is a little bit on the chilly side. I think I may fire up the old smudge pot to help warm it up a little bit. But other than that, I think that's what we're gonna be doing. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's go ahead and jump on into it and let's roll. So I think we are good to go ahead and let this thing get nice and toasty.
There's dirt on my hands, strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down.
Oh, they kind of hurt. Yeah, this thing, oh my gosh. We're putting the truck, yee!
They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling out tomorrow.
Didn't quite drop all the way down there. Maybe it'll fall eventually. So obviously my little lighter wasn't working, so we're gonna try with something a little bit more substantial. I think that we got it going, but I'm gonna give it a little bit more just in case. So every other time that I have fired this thing up, I've used the paper towel method, but I think it's safe to say that the rosebud on the cutting torch is by far the way to go. We got this thing fired up and ripping within, I don't know, was that like 30 seconds? So I think we are good to go ahead and let this thing get nice and toasty, and we can go ahead and start getting to work, and whenever I start to get cold, I'll just come over here and warm up by the fire. I love this thing, it's great. Best Christmas present I've ever got. Well, I don't know, top 3 for sure. So before we jump into this thing full steam, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up one more project. We're trying to clean up the shop as we go about this. We got this guy right here. For everybody who watched my last video, you know exactly what this thing is. It was used to take out those small little inserts on that master cylinder. So we're gonna go ahead and shorten this up because it does not need a T-handle this big. And we got some ugly welds right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and like finish this thing 100% so that way it actually can fit in my toolbox and not be super awkward and take up a bunch of space. So it's not perfect, but it's definitely looking a little bit better. I think she has earned a space in the toolbox. All right, well, I think we're about ready to go ahead and start on our project. Let's go ahead and get all this nasty grass off. All right, well now that we got the table all cleaned off, I'm gonna go ahead and give me a nice piece of smooth metal right here so we can put our ground clamp on there. So overall, this is gonna be a pretty basic build. We're gonna have 4 cross pieces made out of this 4-inch square tubing. This is thicker wall stuff. We're basically gonna be going 18 inches from inside of here to inside of here. And I haven't quite decided if I'm going to utilize this yet or get another bigger piece that this fits into and then basically run a piece that runs the entire length of it so that we don't ever in any way, shape, or form have to worry about this coming off. We definitely don't want any fail points. We don't want any trailers running away, so we're gonna just build the heck out of this thing. So the first thing that we're gonna end up doing is I'm going to weld this to the table at a right angle, and then once this is welded to the table, we'll go ahead and get that one mocked up. We'll get it welded to the table. That way when we go to weld anything on here, we'll have good current coming through this. It'll make its way through the table and then into the actual attachment that we're working on. And then when we're ready to like flip it over or rotate it, we'll go ahead and just cut the little welds off. But for me, that's like the easiest way I have found to do something like this. Instead of constantly having to move clamps around, we'll just have this one out of the way, and we should be able to do most of our welding. But like I said, at some point we are going to have to flip this over to weld on the bottom side, and I'm really glad that I do have that gantry crane built, because once this is all put together, I honestly don't know if I could lift this thing by myself. So we definitely are going to be using that a little bit. But let me go ahead and get these things tacked together. We'll get this piece all cut up. I'm just going to set it up on a time lapse because there's really not a whole lot going on right now. And then once we get into the more intricate details of it, we'll start to explain a couple more things.
Working a job that I can't stand for less than I'm worth, but all that I can command. Boss looking for a volunteer to stay on late tonight. I can't wait to leave, but I need the overtime. I take every shift I can, 'cause I'm in deep, been falling behind since the Chevrolet went dead. I built her back up myself, but parts ain't cheap. I just can't seem to get ahead. They say if you work hard with it.
Right now is one of those times when I wish I had a big old metal bandsaw, because I got to cut this into 4 18-inch. Well, I'm actually going to do 17 and 7/8. Give me a little bit of room to fill as far as the weld goes. But it would make this way easier and a lot faster. But all I have is like my old chop saw out there, which it does okay, but honestly on the big 4-inch stuff, I find it easier just to use the good old-fashioned death wheel, wherever it is. It's somewhere around here. So I'm going to go ahead and start off. We're going to cut this ear off. I got to do one cut here, then we'll go ahead and mark it out and make 4 more pieces real quick.
There's some ladder you climb, but I'm not convinced there's any ladder to find. Burying my dreams, drowning in debt. I just can't seem to get ahead. I don't desire any fancy things, riches and wealth, and the bitterness they breed. But it'd be nice to take my baby out to dinner now and then, or buy her some roses just for no.
So I'm not sure at what point the battery died on the GoPro, but you guys can see we have our 3 pieces cut. We've got this one tacked in place. I have that back one kind of ground down smooth already to go ahead and tack that one in place. And if you guys have never used these rapid prep discs, they are awesome. They make super quick work of getting it down to clean metal. So I just have one more spot to do right here, and then we can go ahead and get this one in place too. As far as today's concerned, I think I only have time to get these 2 tacked in place. Then I actually got to take off. Then if I have time when I get back today, I'll keep working on it. But I think tomorrow it's just supposed to be dumping rain out here. We're supposed to get, I think, 1/2 inch within like a 3 to 4 hour time span. So before I leave, I'm definitely going to push this in a little bit farther, get the motorcycle out of the way. We'll get the doors closed up, because if it's going to rain that hard, odds are it's going to be windy too, and we're going to try and avoid any problems. But anyways, let me get that cleaned up real quick. We'll get these tacked in place, and then we'll be back tomorrow.
Reason. When I get home from work, she'll be asleep in bed. colder than the day we were wed. Things didn't turn out how I promised they would be. Oh, I just can't seem to get ahead. They say if you work hard, well, there's some ladder you climb, but I'm not convinced there's any ladder.
This has been like the weirdest storm that I've seen in a while. It started out like freezing cold, and it started raining real hard. Then the sun came out, it got nice and warm. Now it's raining again and starting to get cold again. Super random. But at least I have the shop to keep me dry. So we got that going for us. I do have the 3 pieces welded in. I am gonna do 3 passes on these. I went ahead and did an initial pass right there. And then once I have like everything completely 100% welded up, I will do another like intermediary pass that grabs this and the weld. And then we'll grab this and the weld also. So it's gonna be pretty stout. I think 3 is gonna be enough. But we're to the point now where I get to go ahead and flip this thing over, which means I have to cut these welds real quick. This thing's gonna be heavy. So we're gonna get our pry bar underneath there, wedge it up, bring the gantry crane over, and we'll use that to pick it up instead of me possibly just destroying my fingers trying to flip this thing over. So let's go ahead and get that done. And then I'm gonna weld up the bottom side, which is gonna have a really big gap on it because of the radius right here. So we're gonna have to do a lot of filling, which is gonna take a minute or two. So I'm gonna go ahead and just set it up on a time lapse again and get to work.
To find, burying my dreams, drowning in debt. I just can't seem to get ahead. I just can't seem to get ahead.
All right, well that's out. All right, well that's about all I got time for today. The basic structure of it's here. There's just gonna be a lot of welding on it tomorrow. This piece is almost all the way welded up. You guys can see I went ahead and filled in this gap on the bottom. That's what it looked like prior. This thing right here has 1, 3, 6. 6 passes on it. And so if anything ever rips that off, well, let's just hope that it never happens. But the rest of them are gonna be like that as well. And then once we find a big section of tube to stick this in, I think I have one here somewhere. We'll put that on next. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and get going and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, we're pulling up to Wetmore's. We're about to go drop a couple $100 on probably some pretty nice hitch related components, a couple safety chain items, maybe some hooks, because we gotta build like fail safes for this thing to not come off the forks. I'm guessing $400 is gonna be our bill today. Gonna try and keep it under that, but I don't know. That would be my guess, because we're buying a pretty serious hitch right now. All right, well, we came out of Wetmore's pretty good. I was expecting to spend about $400. And initially, we were just going to be getting a 30-ton hitch, but we ended up getting one of the big boys. We got a 45-ton Bad Mama Jamma. So anyways, I got to run to Home Depot now, buy some sandpaper and some primer and some black paint. And then I think we'll be able to finish this thing today. Oh, I did pick up one more thing. We got some safety chain mounts, which I'll show you guys a little bit better when we get back to the shop. But let's run over to Home Depot now. Holy smokes, guys. It is starting to just pour right now. I'm like heading this way and the storm's kind of following me right now, but the hail is just starting to dump out here. My property is turning into a mud pit. Woo. Anyhow, I'm glad we got the shop to work in. I'm just pulling back up. We're gonna go ahead and get welding, and I'm hoping to finish this thing tonight. That's my goal. Hopefully I stay warm enough. I may be putting the bib overalls on to stay a little bit warmer. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a quick bite to eat, and then we'll run back up to the shop and hopefully get this thing cranked out. Hey guys, this storm be wilding today. Holy smoke! Man, that hail is just dumping right now. If this gets any worse, I'm gonna have to move my GMC underneath the hay barn. These are starting to get pretty big. Wow, they kind of hurt. Yeah, this thing, oh my gosh. We're putting the truck, yee! Holy smokes, guys. That is just too much, poor truck. Of course, as soon as I get in my truck, it starts to let up. I have no idea what to think anymore. This weather is crazy. I'm gonna quit trying to figure it out. I'm just gonna go ahead and get back to work. We don't have a whole lot left to do on the bottom side. You guys can see how I did like a multiple pass weld right here. We are going to be replicating that on that cross member, and then we're gonna go ahead and flip it back over, and we're gonna do either a 3 or maybe even a 6 pass weld right here. Basically on every other side except for this one right here. Because this attachment has to be what we call Jeff proof, which is one of the reasons why I went with the 45-ton hitch, aside from them not having it also. And I think it's gonna look super rad. So anyways, I'm gonna put the camera down, set it up on a time lapse again, and go ahead and get to work.
$8 an hour is what I'm worth. Putting shingles on houses that I can't afford. That's 64 for an 8-hour day. A family of 4 can't live that way. So now I'm working nights, parking cars at the club. On a good night I make $50. I take it all home and I add it all up. Somehow an 80-hour week just ain't enough. Something about this math just don't add up. Something about this math just don't add up. I'm working for a living. I'm working for a living. I'm working for a living and it's turning me cold. I'm working for a living. I'm working for a living. I'm working for a living and it's turning me cold. My wife says, babe, we really need a vacation. But she don't know our situation. I'm falling behind. Sir, don't make me look like a loser in my baby's eyes.
Holy smokes, 2 minutes of time lapse just to do those 2 right there. There's a lot of welding that goes into this when you guys are just doing like pass after pass after pass. And it just is what it is, it's part of the process. So pretty much the bottom side's done. You guys can see exactly how much welding goes into this. Basically it's just pass after pass. I don't think I'm gonna weld the angle iron from the bottom side. I think I'll do it once it's flipped over. It's gonna hold the actual diamond plate in there to kind of have like a little tray to store whatever they want right there. It's just gonna look good. I don't really think they're gonna use it a whole lot, but I'm gonna put it there anyways. So yeah, we're pretty much done with the bottom side. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing flipped back over. And after manhandling a little bit, I think I'm gonna attempt to do it by hand instead of using the gantry crane. But holy smokes, guys, this weather is just not letting up. It's like torrential downpour. And I know the shop always makes it sound a little bit louder than it really is, but it just keeps coming in waves. So I'm curious to see what it looks like out here. Man, if this keeps up, I'm gonna have another river right there that I'm gonna have to fill back in. It's already starting to wash out. It's kind of a bummer. Oh well. Anyways, let's go ahead and try and get that thing flipped back over. You guys hear how fast it stopped raining? Crazy. Yeah, that's way to be optimistic, Jim. This thing is ridiculous. So when I went down the hill today, I definitely probably should have picked up more of these, but they're just awesome. Look how quick they took all this material off. Well, obviously I didn't take all the part off right there, but they just do a great job at pretty much stripping whatever and just leaving nice, clean, beautiful metal. Anyways, I'm gonna get back to welding and then we'll get that piece cut right there. I think we're gonna cut that one probably about 3 feet. It's gonna hang over the front, maybe a foot or so, maybe 6 inches. I haven't quite decided yet how far I wanna overhang that one. I'm gonna look at a couple other models online, kind of gauge, see where they did it, how far I should go. But yeah, I'm not gonna even time lapse this next part because it's just the same thing again, a bunch of welding. And then when we're done, we'll go ahead and get the pieces of angle iron cut, we'll get that cut. And I'm hoping to have all of the structure of this done tonight. I don't think we'll have it finished, but I would like to have everything in place, and that's my goal. All right, I went ahead and got the piece cut real quick, and we actually gotta go feed our animals before the sun goes down, so ranch duties do come first. I keep having these ideas pop into my head, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but oh my gosh, guys, look at this. This is beautiful. The sky behind those clouds is just a magnificent blue. And then I guess tomorrow morning it's supposed to dump even more, which is really good for the hay. It's getting pretty tall. So anyhow, we'll be back in just a little bit. All right, so the animals are all fed, and I went ahead and saved you guys a bunch of mindless footage of me grinding this piece of metal right here. So you guys can see we got beveled edges all the way around. We got all the metal cleaned up where we're going to be attaching this piece to this piece. I may be, like I said, building like a little bridge gusset looking thing right here. Haven't fully decided what I want to do on that one yet. But we do have this edge all beveled too. I'm going to be using this, I think this is 6-inch wide plate. I believe it's 1/2 inch thick. It's pretty gnarly stuff. I think it's going to be more than sufficient for mounting that to it. Now the beauty of using something this big is I don't think we're going to have to gusset this plate that we're going to be installing, because the actual bolts are going to be like right on the outside of this thing. We may put some very small minor gussets in it, but for the most part, I don't think we're going to need to. I think this is going to be more than sufficient for what we got going on. Put it all together, and I don't think it's satisfactory. I will go ahead and modify this a little bit, reinforce it some, but I don't think we're going to have to. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and start tacking this into place. We'll get this piece cut, and then from there, we'll go ahead and try and start figuring out if we're going to do like some sort of other piece that comes over the top of this to really hold this all together. And then we'll probably do it on the back side too, should I decide to go ahead and do it on the front, just to make it look uniform. Another thing that we're going to be doing is I'm going to cut another piece of this, and we're going to be welding a piece on the back that comes down to this that really holds this all together. Because when you put that hitch up front right here and you pick up, let's say like a 30,000 pound trailer, this is going to want to be lifting up so hard. So we're just trying to reinforce this whole thing like to the max. So yeah, time to put the camera down and start welding again.
Sir, don't make me look like a loser in my baby's eyes. I never used to be so cold and cruel. I never used to be so cold and cruel. I'm working for a living. I'm working for a living. I'm working for a living, and it's turning me cold. I'm working for a living. I'm working for a living. I'm working for a living, and it's turning me cold.
So we're just going to be doing one last thing, and that's installing the hitch right here. This guy's made by Byers. They make really good stuff. I have a 50-ton hitch on the heavy haul. Just great products. This one in particular has this kind of interesting spring-loaded lock. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of it, but the concept behind it's pretty cool. It's pretty much self-locking. You do have like a double safety right here. Is it excessive for a forklift attachment? Probably. But one cool thing about Byers also, if you look on the side right here, says made in USA. So technically you're not supposed to weld on these. It says so right on the side, do not weld. We're just gonna be doing a couple little tacks. I just wanna hold it in place. And then I actually have to go pick up the right size drill bit. It's pretty good size. I think that might be like a 3/4 inch drill bit. I don't have one. I gotta go into town and grab one. So we're just gonna tack it in place because I really wanna see what this thing looks like before we wrap it up. And then that's gonna be the last thing that we do. So I'm just gonna demonstrate real quick how this mechanism works. Basically, you have to pull this out, lift up, and you see how that just pops up. It's pretty cool, it's pretty fast. And then to lock it, you just slam it back down. It locks into place. And then if you wanna be like uber safe, you just put that pin in right there. And that's it. But as I'm looking at this thing, we may have a slight issue. As I come down here, I can't tell if this handle is below the bottom of the attachment. It looks like it's just above it. So we're gonna have to cross that bridge tomorrow. I'll go ahead and set it on the ground and we'll see what happens. That may have been a major design flaw. We're gonna worry about it another day. So normally I don't really take projects on like this very often. It's pretty seldom that I do it. I kind of keep stuff like this as like an ace up the sleeve for when work gets slow. And I'm gonna tell you what, guys, it's been pretty slow as far as February and March goes. They haven't been awful, but they haven't been great. So I'm just curious as far as like a broad spectrum goes, how things are looking across the nation. I know pretty much what's going on in San Diego. I keep my ear pretty close to the ground to kind of see what's going on. So anyhow, I'm just curious if you guys wouldn't mind dropping a comment down below if you guys are killing it or if you're struggling. I'm just wanting to know kind of what it's like across the nation. Because in San Diego right now, it's not that great, but things are slowly starting to pick up. So like I said, I'm just curious. And if you guys could do that for me, that would be super cool. So I'm really liking how this thing's turning out. I think it's gonna be just a phenomenal attachment. I think I am gonna go ahead and wrap it up for the day though. It's getting kind of cold, it's late, I'm tired. And Mike, if you're watching this, I just want you to know that I am turning my gas off right now. For everybody else that may be wondering why I'm saying that, because I have a nasty habit of leaving it on and he always catches me in my shop. He'll come over here and just be like. So anyways, yeah, I think we're done. With that, we're gonna go ahead and put the screws this video. I do appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch. If you could do me a huge solid like, subscribe, share this with your amigos, hit that notification button down below. You guys can continue to see progress on this sweet attachment and whatever else I got going on, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.